Let peace stress free, let it be. God got a bigger plan for you and me. Let peace stress free, let it be. God got a bigger plan for you and me. Let peace stress free, let it be. God got a bigger plan for you and me. Yeah.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of High Conscious Conversations with Rev Skip. And of course, I'm Rev Skip. And Happy New Year. Happy New You. And what I heard this week was Happy New Now. I was on a panel of speakers, spiritual speakers over the weekend. They were saying Happy New Now. So that's what I'm going to stick with. So Happy New Now. I hope everyone had a prosperous New Year, and Christmas is done, y'all. We're out of that and we're into the new year. What are your intentions for this new year? And it's a good time to kind of focus on what intention really is. And I always say intention is the energy we use to create the life that we want. And you too can create anything that you want. So I invite you to set your intentions for 21. So come on into this space. I welcome you if you're listening here online, live, or you're going to be on the podcast later on, maybe in a month from now, you're listening from the podcast. I welcome you into the sacred zone. And it's time to get deep and go deep into creating the life that we want comes from our intention and our mindset. So that's what we're here to do. That's why we're having a high conscious conversation. And today we're talking about this new year and a new life and getting into the practices that really work for our life. So our quotable ponder today actually comes from Deepak Chopra, which I love this. And Deepak says this: fill your plate with the colors of the rainbow. What pleases the eye pleases the body as a whole. Deepak Chopra. And this is a great book. It's called From What Are You Hungry For? This book is amazing. It really breaks down to why the sun-infused foods feeds us, and it creates a living space within our own body. I believe right now one of the greatest things that we can do is to take care of ourselves. And one of the greatest self-care things that we can do is eat well. Eat well. I am on day 3 of a 3-day juice fast. So here's my juice. And it's juice all day with a little bit of substance. I do have a little bit of cucumbers and an avocado at the very end of the day of the fasting. But I want to say this, that releasing all the stuff that's been in me since Thanksgiving feels really good. Now, it is a challenge to go through a cleanse, but I know that it's taking care of my body. So this is day 3. And in this conversation, man, I could say anything because my excuse is juice fast. So I welcome you. And this is a great time to begin to take care of our bodies and our minds and our spirits. So I'm very excited about our guests. Our guests today, really important people. And I've gotten to know them, but I've known one of our guests for a while, but we just haven't been in contact for a while. And now we're reigniting our energies together, and she's a dynamo. And we're going to talk with Two Fit Crazies today. And Two Fit Crazies, you're going, well, what is Two Fit Crazies? Well, they're going to tell you who they are and what they do. But let me tell you a little bit about Brian. Brian, he is the co-host and the co-creator of Two Fit Crazies. He is a co-owner and co-founder of TFC Productions, which actually has helped me to produce my podcast. So I'm grateful to have them here. He is the host and producer of MedFit Podcast and Podcast Education Foundation webinars. I need to talk to him a little bit more about that. He created What's Up, Dad? Wait a minute. Hashtag Dads What's Up, a free social house base for everyone, media for everyone, for dads, I guess. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And he is a certified integrative nutrition health coach. Yeah, I need a little nutrition in my life, y'all. So we're going to be getting down with the nutritional conversation. Christine Conti, aka Wonder Woman. Yes, she is. She's an international fitness presenter, an educator, a business consultant. She's the CEO of Conti Fitness and Wellness. Let's see, English teacher. I didn't know that she taught English, volleyball coach, 20 years business fitness. boy, do we have a lot to talk to them about. So, my friends, help me welcome in Two Fit Crazies. Hey, y'all, what's going on?
Hey,
Rev Skip.
how are you?
What's up? Who are the Two Fit Crazies?
That would be me.
And me.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy everything.
That's
How
right.
about that?
Thanks for having us, Rev. This is an honor.
It's my honor. And I was just laughing. I was reading this. I didn't know you were an English teacher. You taught English?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was in investment banking in New York City, woo. And then I just couldn't sit behind a desk. And you'll realize this, your listeners are here. I just couldn't do it. The money's great. And living in the New York City in your early 20s is fantastic, but it was not my shine. And I wound up going and teaching English so I could coach, so I could be in the fitness industry. So finally, when I realized hey, maybe all these decisions were based on a different goal, maybe, and that's, we'll talk about that today of, when you wake up.
I love that. Brian, tell me something I don't know about you.
Oh, geez.
Make it good.
Yeah, I'm a work in progress, Rev. Aren't we all, though? I guess that's nothing new. A lot like Christine, had past careers, past lives. None of them completed me in any way. I always wanted some more. And, it was just able to, we always say I didn't take any leaps. I never took any leaps. Yeah. I got the boat close enough to the dock where I could step off, and made sure that everything was done, in a way that I could be comfortable with. Honored to be here. Really grateful to have for you having us.
I am grateful to have you to jump off our New Year's show. This is where everyone starts to try to get their fitness regime in line and their practices in line, and I'm going to start off the new year. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to do this. So to have you on the show is really an honor, and it is apropos. And as we are approaching into this new year, this new time, this new spirit, I'm going to start off with the most obvious question. Two Fit Crazies. How'd y'all get that name? Wait a minute. It's Two Fit Crazies and a microphone, y'all.
Two Fit Crazies and a microphone.
Where's that?
So we stole it from Beck, straight up. We always say when we get large enough and we get that, we'll know we really made it when we get the cease and desist from Beck's attorneys asking us not to use the name anymore.
We haven't gotten it yet. It's been a couple years, so we're
working on that. So we honestly, we were working on a name. Christina and I decided we were going to do a podcast together, and we were just cruising down. I was cruising down the street, listening to music in my car, and two turntables and a microphone. I said Two Fit Crazies and a microphone, because we had some microphones podcasting, and where it's at.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
And we're also crazy. That's true.
We
rock
a little bit of crazy as well.
Some are
Was it an instantaneous connection and you knew right away that you should be doing a podcast, or was it this organic explosion and it came around? What was that like? How did you know that the podcast was in your realm?
When I disastrously, like a tornado, came into Brian's life and was like, hey, we should do a podcast. I didn't even listen to podcasts. I just knew from a fitness, being in the industry and seeing the need for, businesses didn't have, or, individual people who had these great programs and these great ideas had no way to market themselves, had no way to get their information out. And, we deal with people all the time who are like, and honestly, it's really funny, is that, they'll come to us and be like, Christine, my boyfriend Joey told me that I should go keto to lose these 6 pounds.
Or juice cleanse.
Do you think that I should do that?
Wait a minute, Brian. I heard that, man. I heard that.
I'm like, do you even know what ketosis is, sweetheart?
Right.
And it was like these things that people had no idea about that are so simple to us, that are second nature, that we thought, what? This is the time we could create from our wheelhouse of fitness and nutrition and kind of what we bring to the table individually, come together and give other people a platform. And honestly, just from talking these organic conversations, our lives have changed. I mean, drastically changed, because of the fact that we sat here and said, how can we best serve the industry or people around us? And here we are, years into it with our own production company and just Two Fit Crazies in a microphone.
and honestly, Christine, it was the right time, right place. Everything was lined up perfectly. Christine was just leaving teaching. I was getting out of one of my several I made it jobs that were supposed to satisfy and make me happy. I was doing more health coaching, and look, we're entertaining as hell too. So it was good way to and honestly, I've always said all along, Christine, whatever you're doing, I'm with you. Like, let's go.
I've been on your podcast, and it is a brilliant experience. And I call it an experience because it was such a way that we got a chance to, just like what I'm doing now, is have a conversation. And stuff would come up, and I didn't know we were going in what direction, but you had a great way of facilitating a conversation. I love your podcast. I listen to it every week, and it's free. And the funny thing is, I know a lot of people who are on your podcast. Personally, I know a few people that have been on your podcast. It's great to hear insights from people like Kimberly and Petra and a few other people who have had, I've known for years, but to get to know them on a personal level.
Yeah. And that's the way we've designed it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, a podcast where there's, a list of questions or anything. I enjoy that as well. It's just not our format. We like extemporaneous conversation. We like it when, maybe they come on to our show for whatever they're doing, whatever, their book or their podcast that they have, or their fitness program or their nutrition program, whatever it is that there is what they do. And then we get to talk to them and we get to find out who they are. And that's where the stories come from. That's where I just got goosebumps just saying that. Like, that's where, we get to really get people's life story and what got them to where they are. It's very rare, like Christine and I just said, and even from your story, which I know, it's very rare that people just kind of, they don't land on the top of the fitness and health and wellness and nutrition mountaintop. There's a grind, there's a work, there's other jobs, there's baristas, there's, all these things that have happened in between. And that's the goods, that's the gears,
And one of the things that we're doing right now, speaking of the grind we are learning to, I want to use the word grind, but it's like a grind because we are reinventing ourselves, especially in the space of COVID and unemployment and what's next. We're reinventing ourselves. And I've seen, and I've heard the guests that you've had on, you've brought up this question: how are we redesigning ourselves and what's happening and what's the next step? So I want to ask you both, what is our next step in this time? You have a production company, in which I thank you for helping me produce my podcast. But what is the next step? And people are looking, how do we redesign our life? So in your eyes, what are these steps and what must we take in this time?
All right, you want me to go first on this one? So sure. I will go back. This was really eye-opening to me. About a week ago, someone, a pretty, well-established person in the fitness world, posted a question on their platform, and it said, what are you doing now in 2021? What do you have planned for income? I mean, this is where we're at, right? It's one thing to sing Kumbaya and, let's be positive and think and smile more. But really, how are you paying your bills? What's going on?
That's the real deal, yo. That's the real deal.
What is your action plan right now? Like, what is going on? So one of the things that I feel very strongly about, and especially with our podcast, is what do you have to offer other people? Like, really sit back and think to yourself. Forget about, I should do this, or I should put my hand in this, or what are your things? What is it that you love and you're passionate about, and what are you good at? Yeah. And now think backwards and say, all right, well, how could I use my gifts and my, specialties to serve other people? And that's where it starts. So forget, making all these cold calls and reaching out to all these people you don't know. Use the people you know and ask them, make actual phone calls, have actual conversations.
Oh, you mean use
text
the phone?
message.
Use the
I
phone
mean,
other than texting?
oh, I think that's the number one thing that has helped myself, has helped Brian, has helped all of us, that the people who really sat back, in the spring and said to themselves, all right, you know what? I'm not going to freak out. I love people. I know a lot of people. It's about networking. And even today, I was on a call earlier with another fitness class platform that was coming out. And this person was like, this is why we do this. And we're still kind of figuring things out. I'm like, you and everyone else, buddy. I said, but you know what? After talking to them, I said, I would love, I know that this might help me. I said, but how can I help you? Even though it was a call about me, I said, do you think maybe we can put you on one of my podcasts this spring and we could help promote your company, talk about what you're doing? And I think that was super, important and the person was like, oh my gosh, like you could help me. Like, are you offering me something? Yeah. And every time, I like to flip conversations, and a lot of times people are taken back because maybe they're trying to sell me something, and I flip it and say, how can I help you?
Yeah, and I love that. I love that.
I love it too, because I've been annoyed lately with the drop in the DMs, the DM sales pitch, like, that cold DM, like, hey, I saw that it's like a play date or
Ryan
something.
knows
like
how I feel about this.
Right? Like the LinkedIn play date. Oh, you do podcasts? I do podcasts. Let's connect. And and it's kind of like it doesn't leave anything more to that. And I really feel that that's, Christine nailed it. It's service, it's helping, it's taking what I got and letting me help other people. That's really, really been my initiative for, my mindset for 2021, and asking a lot. We've gotten to the point now, especially within this industry, where, podcasting industry and in fitness and wellness, where there are no more cold calls. We're warm as hell. So like we can just call anybody we feel like that we want. And
but we love people. Like, that's the thing. Even on our podcast, we might have a really serious topic. This is what I've noticed a lot too. And then like either I'll crack a joke or Brian will say something kind of, because you want people to realize that you are a person. Like, we're all people here. Yeah. And we all hope, aside from me, who jumps into her pants in the morning, like put our pants one leg at a time in,
You're talking about having real connection. You're talking about having something that was real meaningful right now. And I believe that this is what we're longing to have, a little bit more of a connecting vibration than a separation vibration. So we are in the new year, and I cannot not ask you about nutrition and health and fitness. And I got to tell you, I do a juice cleanse, and you made fun of me, Brian. I saw you laughing by juice cleanse.
Can I time out real quick?
Every year. What?
I want to stop you real quick. And that was that connection, that relationship. I did that because I love you and I can tease you like that. All right.
Yeah, right. From the heart, brother, for sure, right. For sure. But I do a juice cleanse every year. It's something that I like to cleanse out. I got to tell you, it's probably the most challenging thing, because I know what I did the previous couple of weeks, and what I don't normally eat in such a way during Christmas and holiday that I eat, the rest of the year. So I let myself go. Then I have this idea of cleansing. What do you think? If some people say cleansing doesn't work, what do you think about cleansing, you guys?
I do it when I get the stomach virus. That's what I call cleansing.
Listen, here's my answer, and I do work with a lot of people with this. And a cleanse is something that they'll actually come to me with. And I don't always start there, because you nailed it when you first came on and you said it's about eat well. Eat well, you said. Eat well. And that's exactly the way that I phrase it, because it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So we changed the oil in our car, right? So is a cleanse bad for us? No. Can a cleanse be a crutch? Absolutely. Can it be a quick fix, or the get rich quick scheme? Absolutely. So where do we see it as? And that's different from client to client. There are some people that I would suggest and say, okay, that is a good idea. Let's go through it together. We'll get through it, and we'll make sure you're doing it the correct way. Keto too, whatever. Any of those, any dietary theory or change in behavior. But then, from there, let's go through it. Or it might not be the right thing for them, just as any other tool, just like the scale. Scale can be a great tool, and it's a horrible tool for many. So
yoga, I'd say yoga, not everyone should be taking yoga.
There you go.
Yoga is not great for everybody.
I am a running coach, and I'm a runner freak, fit crazy. I get the fit and the crazy from the running that I do, and it's not for everybody. And I have to understand that as a professional, because who am I working with? I work with people. They're different.
That's right. Christine, cleanse, not cleanse.
Okay, so this is my thing with cleansing. Okay. I just, because of my lifestyle, like I've tried this before, and people have tried to sell it to me over and over again. I think for, maybe for disease purpose, or, you've been diagnosed with something and it's good for your body. I think if it's doctor supervised or recommended. Personally, I am very active. Right. If cleanse for me, I would die. Okay. And I'm just being very honest. And I tell people that from the heart, I need to eat because of the activity level that I'm at. I need the food. I need the nutrients. If a cleanse for me means that I am just removing maybe excess sugar or excess salt, and again, maybe more water. That is really the only way that I technically cleanse. Like I can eat for a day or two, just all natural, nothing extra excess, like I said, anything processed, things like that. That's really a cleanse for me, where I'm not eating the extra cookies or the whatever.
That's a cleanse.
Yeah.
And that is a cleanse. Absolutely.
And you also kind of follow the terms, right? They're like, fasting is big now. So now we're not cleansing, we're fasting. Right. And look, fasting, there's tremendous research, and there's, it is a valuable tool for some, not for all.
I've always done intermittent fasting without it knowing, that's what I'm doing. I didn't know the name of it. I didn't normally eat until 12 noon anyway. I normally stop eating around 7, 8 o'clock. Oh, that's the name of what I'm doing, is called intermittent fasting. One of the things I say to my clients as well, you can do the juice cleanse if you want for the next 2 or 3 days, how long you want. But what are you going to do the day after that?
Right.
Are you going to go back to In-N-Out because you're so starving? Which I don't. And for me, when it's done, I'm back on my vegan diet, mostly vegan. I do have eggs in my diet, which, because I'm so active, it helps me to continue to have that energy and strength that I need. But most of the times I don't even eat the eggs. I'm pretty much vegan. But in the space of cleansing, I know why I'm cleansing, because I know what I put in my body the week before. So I need to cleanse that out. But what are you going to do the day after?
Absolutely. And how many cleanses are you doing a year? I get in the situation right. So that's you. It's one. So that's fine. I get in a situation where people will come to me and they'll be like, well, I did this once and it worked. And I was successful with it, and it was 14 days and I dropped 15 pounds. Okay. And I need to drop another 15 pounds. So now I'm going to do it again. And the next thing you know, you're doing it once a month. And then you got, several months of the year when you add those days together where people aren't eating right and, getting the true nourishment that they need. So again, it's, you gotta hit it where they are and what they're doing and how they're approaching it. And is it a crutch? Is it not a crutch? Is it something that's a reset, a recharge? I love that. We all need a reset.
Absolutely. We've had great conversations about spiritual awakening, and this show is really focusing about, waking up to something greater than our body. Because a lot of times we want to put our emphasis on our skinny jeans. And I'm just honest with everyone. Listen, this year I'm 56. My skinny jeans got bigger. I'll be 57 in June. My skinny jeans are no longer the skinny jeans I used to have. Sometimes it's just about that. Sometimes it's just about, trimming down. But the truth is, the reality of what we do in fitness is not about changing the outside. It's about opening up and connecting with spirit within you. So in this journey of awakening and spirituality, how's fitness open up a connection within yourselves?
Wow, that's a loaded question there.
It sure is.
Open the can of worms. Here we go.
It's high conscious conversations with Rev Skip.
There it is. Again, my journey started when I was younger. And it's been, I call it, it's really an evolution, because you have to, I used fitness, I used running, I played volleyball at a high level in college. And even before then, I went through some depression and some, I always call it the bad things. And I turned to, running and athletics and fitness as my positive, as my outlet, as, my coping mechanism that allowed me to get through many days where, you don't want to get up or face the world. And I think a lot of us have been there, where you're at the end of your bed crying because you just don't think you can handle anything else. And, maybe it would be better if you weren't here, and it's, I think we've all had these moments. And that is kind of the beginning for me, going back to my childhood, of fitness. And, any times in my life, it's so important, because then that almost defined me, because I was the one who was always moving and active, and fast forward throughout life, there was different points where, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and it left my grandmother a quadriplegic. And when I got diagnosed, I thought, what, who am I? Who am I going to be? I've been in the fitness industry already. I have kids. I'm going to be in a wheelchair in what? And for me, that was a death sentence. I thought, I would rather die than not be able to use my body, because I didn't know anything else. And that's when, that light flipped. It was like a couple different things happened in life. And I was like, what? You this, I always say, you have two choices. The new Wonder Woman was pretty good. But I love Wonder Woman. And she says you have two choices. You have two choices in life: do something or do nothing. Always choose something. And that's always my motto. And I go back to that, and I was like, what? I now have this terrible gift. It's a gift, but it's not so great. That I can now help other people, because the second you stop moving, when you have an autoimmune or you have a disease, it's over. What are you going to do? Something hurts, you're going to sit in a chair for the rest of your life. Now so it's, that's when I kind of was like, what? I'm going to show other people that they need to keep moving, for their body, for their mind, for everything. And that's really how this whole journey started, of really getting into the fitness industry and podcasting with Brian. That was, that's really what opened it up for me, of, well, let me teach other people how valuable this is for their life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Powerful. Brian, what was your journey of awakening to this?
The journey of awakening for me has always come in bits and pieces, right? It's like I always say to people, don't ignore the basic stuff that makes you feel good, or those general those areas of very general living that have been profound to you that you keep going back to. So that's kind of the spiritual awakening of things. But exercise for me, the foundation of everything that I'm built on right now is built on rock bottom, right? So, and it's gone up from there. So my current, the current status of my athletics and the running and the fitness and everything that I do to help other people, really came to get me out of the gutter I was in at the time. It helped me through recovery. I've been in recovery for 13 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's always been a part of my life. And it's kind of like, when did I feel good? And that's a question I ask all the time in people in health coaching. Okay, obviously you come to me right now because you don't feel so good. You want things to change. When did you feel good? And, for me going back, it was always when I was in my youth and I was playing sports and I was running. I come from a very competitive running family. My sisters run marathons. My mother ran marathons in the 80s. And it was just always kind of like what we did. And I competed as a young kid at a pretty high level, Junior Olympics and things like that. So after I had to pull myself out of the scrap heap, what did I do? I did what made me feel good. Feeling good is a good thing, and that's what I needed at that time. And so I started running, and then, sure enough, you get into a few injuries because of that, which led me to really physical therapy, which I learned about strengthening my body a little bit more in order to help enhance my running. And boy, oh my God, I could do this and this happens. And it's, it's like, if I do help my body in this way, something better is going to happen. Nutrition, same thing. Boy, the more good things that I pile up for myself, the more I'm going to have. And, the thing that I love to do the most right now, or right then, and what has always been is kind of been running and, just making it better. It's just been that awakening, and it's my soul. It's my TikTok, it's my heartbeat. And I always say it puts the tick in my clock. And everything kind of starts from there. It's my morning meeting, right? It's my morning meditation. It's where I get everything sorted out. When I don't do it, I'm pretty grumpy. Just ask my wife. And, so all these things, it's just blossomed and awakened, really, like you said, from a point of despair, which, as Christine said, we're grateful for those bumps and bruises, whatever they may be.
Because they get us to where we are now. It gets us to this point here. I'm always grateful for every ups and downs I've ever gone through. I'm here today. I have a testimony. My test is now a testimony. You spoke about spiritual practice, and I would love to ask both of you, what do you do on a consistent basis for a spiritual practice? I know you Christine, you said meditation. Brian, meditation. What do you guys do on a consistent basis to up-level your consciousness?
All right, are you ready? I grew up
I'm ready.
with a very Irish Catholic upbringing from my mother. My mother from Brooklyn, Carol.
Here she goes, dog. Watch, here she goes.
All right, Christine, you got to get up and go to mass. All right. Because otherwise you're going to kill your mother. She's going to go to hell if you don't go to mass. Okay. Literally the Irish guilt is what I grew up with.
I love it.
And it was great. So, I always grew up with, with a sense of God and religion. And what's interesting is that as I got older, we've all been through some stuff, put it that way.
Yes.
And, I've questioned, and I've always really questioned it. I got into yoga almost for stress relief when I was in college and started teaching. And it's funny because Deepak Chopra, my eyeballs are on him to do an interview. Like, don't think about it, Deepak. If you're watching this, I've read your stuff and I know, whatever. You're open invite.
Like another co-host on that day you have Deepak on. Don't you want to be surrounded by the brothers?
Mm-hmm. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, a whole bunch of fit crazies in Deepak.
Yeah, I got it. I'm on it. So, I was always, it was always like kind of, every Sunday you'd go and that was your hour of reflection because that's how I grew up. Sure. Whether or not you completely listen to everything, it doesn't matter. It was just an hour of being alone, of reflecting. And again, as I got older, some more things happened in my life and I just questioned. And I think that when I lost my dad, I kind of like almost turned my back on God because it was and my husband was just like, my husband wasn't religious. And then he met me and he was like going to church and everything. And then he's like, what happened? Now I'm the religious one. And I said, Michael, it's not that it's not that I don't believe in God and all this. I said, but I need some time to heal. And I said, my healing right now is not in the church. It has to take place here. And
your healing has to be anyway. So go ahead. That's powerful.
Right. So for me, after my dad passed away suddenly, that's when I really got into, I got diagnosed with this disease and he passed away. It was like this compounded thing. And I just was like, why me? Before I figured out this was like actually a gift that I could help other people. But that's when I started running. And that's like, what Brian said, it became my, my safe place, the place where I could, really think and be spiritual and be aware of me and the people around me and reflect on what was most important. And even if it's yoga or some deep breathing practices, that really is part of my everyday. I try and run. It could be for 20 minutes. It could be for an hour. But that is a time for me where I am not serving anyone else but myself. And I think it's important, for everyone to have that, whatever that may be, whether it's sitting in church or temple or, yoga practice. But that's kind of where I'm at right now of
That's a great
finding,
place to be. That is a great place to be. I love how you understood that, healing, church can activate healing within, but ultimately it is found within yourself.
Yes.
And I think that is the journey of spirituality. It's church can give us a lot of rules and say, do this, you do this, you do this to get this. But spirituality is saying, who are you? And what is your connection to the rest of this world? What are you here for? And in that space of saying, what are we here for? As your company and what you're doing, what is your purpose? What is your purpose, Brian? What is your purpose on this planet? What are you doing this for?
Service, help other people. Give myself to them. It was the old recovery saying, if I want to keep what I have, I got to give it away. And really, and that's what it is. I know how I feel, and it's like really good.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, holy shit, you guys can feel like this too, because I'm not special here in this regard. I pay attention to myself, and I know what makes me feel good. Not like, feel good and feel like, not like an emoji. I have a speech that I have for the kids, a lecture that I give to kids in school, and it's know your emojis. And what do those emojis really mean? Right? Yeah. Like they're pictures, but what do they feel like? Like, what do they actually feel like? So it's kind of like, what makes me feel good? I want more of that. What makes me feel bad? Well, now I know that I don't want that anymore. It's like a snake bite, I'm not getting bit twice by that one. So it's evolving for sure. My purpose is to give away the good feelings that I have about life. And,
and another saying from the rooms is that, you hit bottom when you stop digging.
That's
and when
right.
you stop digging, you want to move up. We got to do those things that will allow us to elevate our consciousness and being very, very aware of what is the tools that allow me to feel better. What is it that I want to participate in that allows me to laugh again? Because I got to say 20 was a very depressing year for me. But I want to laugh in 21. So what am I going to participate in? And service, big thing of service that you were saying here.
And you said it too, tools. I mean, that's the maturation of me is like, I realized at a certain point from my Catholic upbringing, from the situation that I grew up in, and from all those things that put me, where I was, I didn't have the tools.
Yeah.
And I get a kick. I love learning the tools and putting them in my toolbox. Like that's to me is like, I'm going to have like one of those toolboxes, like in the mechanics thing. It's like takes up the whole wall. Like, my kids will play like the shoot 'em up games now. And it's like, I got this gun. I got this gun. I got this gun. I want them all, and, just so that, and with that, I can only help more people. I can only give more away that I have. It's become a business, which is an odd relationship. But it beats working. That's the other thing I say.
And Christine, don't you believe that service is the next wave of for 21? I believe that this is where we must learn to move in. That we're here as one people, one planet. We might not all agree, but we're here to serve each other. And once I serve you, I'm serving myself. And I believe this is the evolution that we're looking to have, to be one and be of service.
The most important thing that people, keep saying, they keep asking, what's the secret? What is the secret to keeping busy and getting people to, to ask you for help and to hire you and whatnot? And I said, sit back and make connections. Be willing to give some of your services away. In the fitness industry right now, we're done with free this, free that. We know that this is a business, you're worth something. But what's the problem with revenue shares and cross promoting? And this is where it's at. It's how can we help each other? And that's a huge, ticket item, like you said, in 2021, helping each other. Yes, we want to help each other emotionally and laugh more. But, let's think about it in that whole picture. You've got your emotional and physical, but also financially. And if this is a business that you want to do. You want to love what you do, and this is your business. Well, guess what? Instead of going out to someone with your hand out, going out to them and saying, listen, this is what I do well. This is what you do well. What if we do this together?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about TFC Productions real quick before we go off this air, because what you're doing and just listening to you, we had our initial consultation and we talked about it, and your idea of creating a podcast network where everyone connects with everyone else, and you're a guest here, and we have some monetary people over here that can help you over here. That really spoke to me to say, I want you to help me in production of the podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about your idea of TFC and what you do as a podcast production company?
All right, I'll start, and then I'm going to hand it off to you.
All right, go.
So, you've ever heard of like ABC or NBC?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Or some, ESPN. Okay. Yeah. So this is, you got to think big. There's no little, we don't know how the heck we ever want to get somewhere until we start, right? Or we're going to figure it out. That's it. That's the deal. We're going to figure it out. And our goal was, all right, well, if we start this, how do we help everybody and grow everyone's audience? So we had our show, and then we started helping other people, and now we produce for various shows. Well, why can't we have all of the shows that we're producing be in a network? So you're in the TFC network. Now, all of these podcasts, we see all these fitness podcasts out there, they're all by themselves, standing by themselves. That's great. We're happy for you, but why not bring everyone together? If you advertise on our show, why can't we instead advertise on 10 shows?
I love that.
If people, want to cover their expense of having their show produced, maybe have a sponsor come in and cover your show. That would be their, now your show is for free for you, pretty much. They're getting to advertise. And not only could they advertise on your show, but they could advertise to our network.
It's a hustle, right? The podcast podcast, you have to hustle. So not only are we talking to people every week, so that takes time, and we're and then we're producing our shows, and sitting behind and scrubbing them down so that they are shiny, and making them sound good, and then promoting them and getting them up on the airwaves, and then doing all those things, and then we're soliciting now for advertisements, or we're trying to promote in a way that makes us more enticing for advertisers. A lot of people don't have the time for that, especially when, well, wait, that's not even like our main gig, right? Or it wasn't. So
I'm a doctor. Right? I need to treat my patients.
And there's podcasts after I do surgery.
Right. There's fitness trainers. There's organizations that want to kind of delegate some of that, authority. So we always say, if you can talk for a half an hour and record it, send it to us. We'll make it sound good, and then you could be kind of part of the network of our shows. Christine did say, it just brings in, it's just a wider audience. If we all share it together and give it, kind of say, if you like this, you'll probably also like this, or I'm a guest on Rev Skip's show. We are guests on there and he's a guest on ours. Oh yeah, I heard that guy on our show. He's good. I'm going to listen to his show. It's just a way to kind of nurture a situation and just build it and have it grow. Because it's tough.
It sounds like the new world. It sounds like the new world. It's like you're birthing a community that works together.
It's right. Beautiful.
And that's what it's about, I think. And the other thing is that, so Rev, if there's someone that you don't know that is on our show, what a great warm lead. If you reached out to them and said, hey, I heard you on, Two Fit Crazies. I loved your interview. I was on there as well. I mean, bam, you got a warm lead right there.
Yeah. Why is it so important? And I think we're going to kind of wrap it up from this, but it's so important. I call it the yes moment, you expressing spirit. Why is a podcast someone's yes moment? Why should someone have a yes moment?
Can I?
Go.
May I?
Go.
Go, Brian. Go,
because we've just spoke to each other for, about 45 minutes, right? We sat here and we talked to each other for 45 minutes. I had no idea where it was going. You asked me questions. I gave you answers. They were all true. And if we were to do a newspaper article, if you were a newspaper reporter right now and you interviewed us for 45 minutes and then you had to write a 3-column by 5-inch, newspaper article on us, you'd leave out half of the good stuff that somebody might have liked, just because you're doing your job. Same with a television interview. They're short. They last like so long. So like you expressing spirit and you expressing yourself, it has to be long form. It has to be bigger than a blog post. It has to be bigger than a Facebook Live. It has to be bigger than an entry into just the social medias or whatever. So that's why I like it, because they give you way more than it's
I'll
true.
interrupt. You can't get all this in a newspaper article
or a newsletter. You can't get all this in a newsletter.
You can't get all this.
That's right.
I love it. I love that. If someone is saying, "Oh, I need a podcast," I have a lot of friends who will watch the show afterwards. How will they get in touch with you and to talk about their yes moment?
Google it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Google me, bro.
We've had guests tell us that.
Google me, Joe.
You can just Google me. I'm like, I'm sorry. Come again.
No. TwoFitCrazies.com is our site. We're at Two Fit Crazies on all the socials. Yes, that's our logo. That's the logo.
I love the logo, by the way. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's great. Email is TFC Pro TFC Pro Productions at twofitcrazies.com. TFC Pro at twofitcrazies.
We're pretty easy to find.
Your podcast is really amazing. You can actually get that on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, everywhere.
iHeartRadio.
Well, are you guys on iHeart?
Well, yeah, we're on iHeartRadio.
That's my goal, to get on iHeart. I'm on the other ones, but I want to get on iHeart. It takes a little while to get there, but it'll happen.
No, no. We'll talk in a minute. Yeah, you fill out the application. It'll be up.
This is it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if you could be on one of them, you could be on any of them. Mostly people listen to them on the podcast apps. They have their favorite app that is on their phone, and that's how they get us. And we're on all those things too.
Cool.
And by the way, some people are really hesitant about the whole podcast. Oh, is it going to get lost? Is it going to? Okay, gone are the days where you can only have like Instagram and a website. You have to have a podcast. This is where it's at. Get it? And we have no idea. In 10 years, we may not have a podcast production company. We're going to have whatever the new thing is. And maybe like a hologram.
Virtual reality.
Like, the virtual.
It's a mirror.
I love talking to you guys. I really do. I love listening to your podcast. You truly bring joy into my life. And I'm sure you're bringing joy into the rest of the world. Everyone, listen, you got to follow these guys. Make sure you grab their podcast, listen to it, follow them. Also, you can take me home. I have my new edition of the little book for big transformation will be out January 21st. It's on Audible. It'll be on Audible. It'll be a digital version as well. Get my newsletter at skipjennings.com. Sign up for my app, which I got to say, your commercial voice, Christine, I love it.
I love it too, because I don't have to do it. She's the best.
I feel like I'm missing my calling as like a night caller or something.
I love it. By the way, when you listen to the podcast, that voice that you hear before, that's Christine. So just want to let you know, she's the voice
for voiceovers and also late night phone calls.
I call it. You know what? Skip, the best part, I call her one take Conti. She's one take. That's all. That's it.
I love that. I love it.
Bussin', bang.
Bam. Bam. Thank you guys. It has truly been absolute pleasure, everyone. And also, guys, remember to follow all of us on Instagram. We're there. Follow us on Facebook. Got it. You guys know where to do it. And last but not least, just want to leave you with this, just a reminder. Transformation is a choice. And you can choose today. All right, guys. Till next week. Love you. Peace and blessings.
Thanks, Skip. Love you.